Hi, everyone. Welcome to Prevention Education, the podcast that teaches you everything about prevention. Thanks for listening, and let's get started.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another Prevention Education podcast episode. As always, I'm Kylie, and I'm a prevention project specialist for Preferred Family Healthcare Prevention in Kirksville. And today I have Aubree with me. So, Aubree, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Aubree Crockett. I am a prevention specialist for Preferred Family Healthcare in the prevention department.
Yes. Perfect. Well, we will hop into our intro question. And today is, if you could have any job in the world, what would it be?
Oh, that's a hard question. But I have always in the back of my head, I probably will never do it, but my dream has always been to be a photographer for National Geographic and travel
Ooh,
all over the world and take pictures and travel with my dog if I had a dog at the time,
yeah.
and yeah, just live my best life, traveling the world and capturing cool things and talking to cool people.
Yeah, I think that fits you super well. I hope that that
Thanks,
works
yeah.
out for you in the future.
It would be great if one day it could happen, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, yes. I think I've had this dream for so long, but I don't know
Mhm,
how to do it. I
mhm.
really want to help kids in underdeveloped countries, and
Yeah.
I have a master's degree in child life, and that's just like
Mhm.
it's education on a children's life, like how development happens, how you can help them through all this stuff. And I just think that would be
Mhm.
the coolest thing to go down there with my
Yeah.
family or
Mhm.
go to an underdeveloped country and just love
Mhm.
on these kids and like teach them a bunch of stuff and just care for
Yeah.
them. I think that sounds like the most amazing job in the world.
Yeah, honestly, that sounds you would get to travel, you'd get to work with underserved people, and you get to play with the babies. So
Exactly.
honestly, pretty ideal.
I could not imagine another job that would be better. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see if it ever happens.
Yeah.
Um, well, now that our listeners know just a little bit more about us, we're gonna get into our topic. So today we're going to be talking about how to get involved in your community.
Mhm.
And whether you're in our community listening or outside of our community listening, we're just going to share tips and tricks that you can use really anywhere. But of course, a lot of the stuff we will talk about will be very targeted to our community as well. So, um, just to kind of hop in, just so our listeners know if they're in our community or not, can you share with them what our community is? Like, how many
Yeah.
counties? Yeah.
Yeah. So, the prevention department here covers the 27 most northern counties in Missouri. So basically everything north of Highway 36 if you're from around here. I think it's 36. Yeah, 36.
Yeah.
Um, and I specifically, we have the counties, the 27 counties are broken up into 3 service areas with 9 counties each. And I cover the 9 most northeastern counties in Missouri. So, basically everything east and north of Kirksville and Macon County and that area. Um, but yeah, that's our community
Yeah.
that we serve.
Yes. We have a pretty large community. So we are hoping that if you're listening, you are definitely in our community. Um, but so when we're talking about how they can get involved in their community, what are we specifically talking about?
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
So if I'm when I actually picked this topic, I kind of thought about it as how can people in the community get involved in prevention efforts specifically, since that's kind of our thing is doing substance use prevention and mental health. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking of when I was talking about how to get involved, how you can help with prevention efforts, basically. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So we can hop into that. What are prevention efforts that some people can get involved in?
So the first one I thought of was joining a local coalition. So if you don't know a lot about health coalitions, or I guess it's not a health coalition specifically, but coalitions are how I like to describe them is They're a group of caring people in the community who have come together to work towards preventing substance use, preventing suicide, those kinds of things. We specifically work with coalitions who are doing substance use prevention in my department and my grant. So joining a local coalition could allow you to help out with some of the efforts that they are doing in our communities. So I've got a lot of coalitions who do lots of drug-free messaging. They do drug-free events. They do just things to kind of get kids excited about being drug-free or about doing things in the community and getting involved. So that was the first thing I thought of. There's also lots of volunteer opportunities that come with doing or working with coalitions. You can get a lot of volunteer hours for college if you join a coalition, stuff like that. And there's also just a lot of volunteer opportunities in the community that you can get involved with or get your youth involved in to do some substance-free activities. So those are kind of the first couple things that I thought of when I thought about how people can get involved in their community.
Yeah, those are wonderful just by themselves. If someone wanted to volunteer specifically in our communities, what are some maybe events in the past that have happened that people could volunteer out, or if there are some events in the future, how can they either reach out to volunteer, or how can they kind of know that events are happening?
So the first thing I would recommend is if you want to know kind of what events are going on is follow our social media, like our prevention social media. So we have a Facebook, Instagram. I think, do we have any other ones? I guess you should probably share that. Yeah.
Yeah, we have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then I feel like I'm missing something on that list, but I'm not sure what. But you can go to
Yeah.
our website and you'll find all of our socials there, and it's just PFH Prevention on every account.
Yes. So I would recommend following our social media. And then a lot of the coalitions in the area also have social media where they share activities that they're doing. You can also reach out to coalition leaders for opportunities. So specifically in Kirksville, the NEMO Drug Free Communities Task Force, they just did a really, really big project at the NEMO Fair doing, they put up signage about underage drinking. They sat at the gate, gave out messaging about underage drinking, not supplying to minors, and they did a lot of, I think they worked on doing some compliance checks at the fair too. So that was a really good opportunity where April needed a lot of volunteers to come sit at the gate or put up signs or do those kinds of things. So reaching out to coalitions too is another really good way to find lots of volunteer opportunities in the community. So yeah, I would recommend following our social media if you want to find your local coalition social media and follow them. They share a lot of really good opportunities as well.
Yes. And if you don't know how to find your local coalition social media, you can also pop over to our website, pfh.org/prevention. And we have a whole page of all of our coalitions. And if you just click on their logo, it'll take you to if they have a Facebook page, their Facebook page, or their website, anything that they have, it'll take you to that information. So, yes.
Yeah.
Can you volunteer no matter, or even not even volunteer, just get involved? Age, is there any age limit or restrictions with getting involved?
No, yeah, we all of my coalitions have a very, very wide variety of ages. We have youth involved in some coalitions. I even in my service area have a youth coalition, a Students Against Destructive Decisions group that's registered with us.
Yeah.
And you could be 100 if you wanted to join a coalition, and we would be more than happy to have you. I'm sure they would have tons of wisdom to even share about prevention, about those kinds of things. Yeah, you can get involved at any age, and we value, especially we do really value youth input. They just, I mean, they know what's going on with the youth, so that's really important. But adult input is also very important because they see some of this stuff as well. So anyone can get involved at any age, no matter what your job is, no matter what you're doing.
Yeah. Yes, I think that's just a really big point to dive into is just make sure, whether it could be a grandpa and his grandchild, come into
Yeah.
coalition meetings or helping to volunteer. Absolutely everyone is welcome. The more, the merrier in every single community. So,
Yeah.
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 What are some other ways that people can get involved in prevention efforts?
So another really big one that I thought of is, or a couple that I thought of is sharing prevention messaging. So sharing social media posts, sharing those kinds of things with, especially if you have youth that you are around a lot, sharing those messages with youth. We have lots of different information that we hand out at events. So we have little QR cards that we hand out where you can scan them and learn about prevention stuff, where about like alcohol, nicotine, vaping, and marijuana. So you could just do your own research, do some looking into prevention efforts, that kinds of things, how you can help people who are struggling. And another one that I thought of is just supporting youth and having those conversations with them, having the hard conversations about addiction, having those kinds of talks, and just supporting them, lifting them up, and helping them engage in substance-free activities. So
Yeah.
that could look like having a sober graduation party, or just a fun event after school for the youth where they can engage in substance-free programming, just anything that can get youth involved and get youth thinking about prevention and get youth really just understanding the messages that we're trying to share.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point, because it shows that you don't have to even leave your home necessarily to be engaging in prevention efforts. If you
Yeah.
have kids at home, or say you might be a nanny or a babysitter, or just a caring adult that's around youth, just supporting them, caring for them, that can be prevention right there, just being that one caring adult. And just making sure to, I really love that you brought in social media. That's something that I've never thought about. How you can just share a prevention method or prevention effort on social media or message, and that could make a difference in someone's life, and you might not know it.
Absolutely.
So I love that you brought those topics up, because prevention efforts don't need to be big, extreme things that go on. They're tiny things that happen in life that you can just say to one person.
And then that person can spread it to another person, and that person, and it's like a whole chain effect, I think, where it can just spread like wildfire if people choose to do that. And I think being a good role model for youth is really important too. And just like being a positive influence, showing them like, oh, it's okay to live drug free. Like this is a good life. Like you don't need to be engaging in those things to be happy, to have fun. So yeah, just really being a positive role model and teaching your youth to stick up for themselves and honor their values, I guess. So
Yeah. Yes. And give them the tools they need for their tool belt, because they don't know sometimes what they need or what to say. And so just starting a conversation.
And youth learn by watching adults. So
Exactly.
they're going to learn what you're teaching them, and they're going to follow what you're teaching them because that's all they know. So I
Yeah.
just think being a good role model is so important for youth.
Yeah. I could not agree more. Yes. Well, are there any other um tips that you have for our listeners?
Um, I think those are the main ones that I could think of. Yeah, just really, I think it's important to share, like, you don't have to do a lot to be spreading prevention. It can be as simple as clicking a button on social media. If that's all you can do, then that's still spreading it and still sharing it, and other people are going to see it. So no matter what you're doing, you can still make a difference, even if it's just a little bit.
Yes. I think that's a wonderful note to end on. So Aubree, thank you for everything that you were willing to share. I know that I learned something in this, and so I really hope that our listeners learned something as well. I have no doubt that they did.
Yeah.
So just thank
Yeah,
you for
well,
taking your time.
yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, of course. And listeners, we hope that you have a really great day. If you really enjoyed this podcast, be sure to listen to other podcasts, specifically podcasts that Aubree is on if you really like listening to her. So please be sure to tune in to all of our podcasts, and just thank you for taking the time to listen. Bye, everyone.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into our podcast. Remember to follow us on social media at PFH Prevention. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Spotify, and more podcasting platforms. And make sure to email us at moprevention@pfh.org with any questions, and feel free to call us at 660-627-7404. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.